Hi guys, it's me. Okay. I'm at like level 500 confused right now. So, as you guys know, I've been under a very strange slander campaign for exposing somebody who now for sure I know is a, a psychotic fake. Um, okay, so check this out. So I noticed that the new person that he's glommed onto did a video, and he was talking all about the MK Ultra programs and all about like the psychic super soldiers and all that kind of stuff. Now, I was used in those programs from the time that I was little. I was brought to NORAD when I was in second grade. Now, Captain White knows all of this stuff. And I have proof of all of this. I was actually scouted when I was little, because I've been psychic since I was basically, a very small child. My aunts will confirm all of this stuff. I have one aunt that even put it in writing. There was a terror campaign run on my family when I was little. And what they did, they basically went after my grandfather, who was the head of household, and he became like a targeted individual. He lost his job, lost everything, had to be relocated from Chicagoland to San Bernardino, California, where we had family. And from that point, our household was basically vulnerable because a man had been taken out. And we were in the process of losing our home. So it was like the usual terror campaign. And this was basically just to kind of get, control of the whole system of my family. So I remember being little, and we had to go on a trip to Colorado, and we were going to Colorado Springs. And I want to say it was about second grade, probably about that time. And then we were, would you stop? God, I'm sorry, my dog is driving me crazy. Okay, so we had to go, and I remember distinctly that we were given cabins to stay in, very nice cabins. And I remember that I couldn't understand how we were doing this when we didn't have any money. We were losing our house. And I'm like, well, how do we afford this like big, cabin and vacation and all that stuff? So interestingly enough, what I do remember is going up a mountain with my grandmother in a van. It was a white van. There were other families in the van, like other people that we didn't know. And I remember asking my grandmother, like, hey, why are these people in the van with us, and but what I remember most distinctly about that trip is I learned how to whistle. While I was in the van, I was trying so hard to learn how to whistle, and I remember I nailed it. And what I had remembered from that point forward is laying on a table and a man standing over me, and I never ever forgot this man's name ever. And or not his face ever. I didn't know what his name was. And then I don't remember anything after that. I remember, like the cabin after that and whatever, but I didn't ask a lot of questions as a kid. So from that point forward, I was apparently I was accepted into that program, and I found out later on from a friend of mine in St. Louis who had to do with my programming when I was little. He admitted everything, knew everything about me, and he wanted to trigger the memory in me instead of telling me, because it wouldn't make sense. So he kept telling me, I want you to watch Kill Shot with Ed Dames. And, the world's going to end and blah, blah, blah. He was trying to get me to go to his place in St. Louis because apparently he had a well. And he thought that, we'd all be safe because he had a well. And, but this guy was from, he was, from deep ops basically, and was protected by the U.S. government in things that he ran and did and whatever. But I didn't really talk a whole lot about what he actually did. But he was kind of a mysterious figure who was very helpful to me. And so I went and got kill shot. And the minute that I saw Ed Dames, I was like, oh, that's the man. So I went and I looked, and he and Stubblebine ran the MK Ultra Project Stargate programs and Psychic Kids programs in conjunction with SAIC that apparently I was signed up for and used in and tested for. And it's no doubt because I've been a very strong psychic from the time I was little. So from there, I was put in the Theta programming, which is a psychic assassin program. I have witnesses that I can do all of this. I've been a working psychic since I was 16 years old, and studied everything, from the time I was 12, 13, and went on to become a professional. From that point forward, it's all that I've, really ever consistently been really good at. So there is proof of this. I have, all the proof. And from that point forward, from being put in the Stargate program and through SAIC and the Psychic Kids and all that, I was assigned a government handler who now works for the U.S. Army, but at the time he worked for a division of Lockheed out of the nuclear division. And he basically, he was my handler my whole life. I didn't meet him until, I don't know, 5 years ago. But I found out, basically a lot about my life. I was in regular contact with one of the vice presidents of SAIC on my other Facebook. His name is Michael. And he used to constantly ask me questions about what I thought about things, tested psychic ability in that. I had a lot of contacts out of Department of Defense and those other companies and that, because everybody basically knew who I was. How I live now is completely different than how I lived then, because it was just more open shop talk about the programs and everything. Max and I, would talk about the programs. We were used in the same things, basically everything. I was active in the soldier community, but I declined to do interviews because I had kind of picked up on the fact that I didn't know and didn't remember enough that I knew that I could easily be led into a narrative that I wasn't even sure existed. So I just decided to live normally and whatever. So you guys kind of know all that story anyway. So when you are a Theta psychic assassin soldier and all that stuff, you are fitted with a body area network and a sodium lithium brain implant, which I do have, and that's the brain implant that I'm retrieved with that I tell you guys about. It has to do with Jose Delgado, and it's called RHIC-EDOM. It's radio hypnotic intercerebral electronic dissolution of memory. What I'm really confused about with this, though, is why as someone who is a legitimate psychic super soldier, and another thing too is just because someone is put in like sex slave, like beta programming and stuff like that, we get the entire gamut of programming. We're literally like human computers, when you're under MK Ultra Monarch programming and you've been used in these things, like I was. And so I'm really curious now as to why I'm being slandered by people who are now doing videos and like claiming to be experts on this kind of stuff when I actually lived it. And that's really weird to me. And especially too, since the person who I talk to every single day, Patrick White, I knew all the insides and outs and all the gossip and the backstories on the government programs. I told him everything. Why he would, I'm not entirely sure why he would kind of slander me the way that he did. And that is why I broke up with him, because I have a very good reputation in the community as far as super soldiers and MK Ultra, and that, even though I've been absent for a long time, but I'm not known as some kind of a crazy flunky like he tried to paint me as. And also, what I'm even more confused about, since they are now experts on MK Ultra and Monarch programming and the Stargate program and you know, all this kind of stuff, why the story that Patrick is telling about me is not make sense, like a complex mind control system and how it all works, and why they're making fun of things and twisting things to make it look crazy. I don't know necessarily that they're people who should be discussing these kind of topics. I don't know. It could be me. Maybe I'm just crazy, you know. But I'm not entirely sure why, if they can't understand basic programming and things like that, why do they think that they are qualified enough to talk about it? I'm not entirely sure. Maybe they think that when they watch the people that stare at goats and that they think it's only men that were used in these projects, which is complete bullshit. Women were used, children were used, anyone who had the aptitude for psychic ability. And a lot of the women that were used for these programs have what's called a Stargate uterus. And because of the fact that they have a high level of psychic ability, a lot of the psychic ability is also induced through ice water immersions and various torture techniques and things like that I was put through. And to this day, I have a hard time with cold water. Not to drink cold water, but ice water. Or if I get cold in the snow or the rain, I get flashbacks of what occurred because I actually am a program survivor. Unlike these fucking nitwits who are just, just talking about things. So I don't know why. Well, I know why, because Patrick White has to make everything into a sideshow and basically slander real people. And he knew this. And he also witnessed the fact, too, that I uncovered some stuff about one of the super soldier females and uncovered all kinds of shit, including like a mugshot, a police record, all kinds of stuff, proving that she wasn't locked away in fucking France for 25 years. And the very next day, the girl comes out and does a hit piece on Max about how abusive and crazy he was. And basically covered every single thing that I found, rebutted everything. The timing was impeccable. It was amazing. And and it's, you know what I mean? So I just find it interesting how when a person who is, a high-level MK Ultra person like myself has a dome of drones above their house and in their window and stuff like that, that's fear porn and that's crazy making and blah, 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 and all this other shit that I read about myself that's complete fucking nonsense. If you are in these programs, you're watched all the time like that. They have surveillance on you nonstop. We have been, if you're using these kind of programs, you're on the national security list, whether you like it or not. Apparently, I've been on since 9/11. So if you guys want to sit here and act like you're experts on MK Ultra while you're slandering actual victims of it and making them look like whores and making them look, unstable or crazy while you guys hijack the community, and I tell you that the one who's fucking doing it is a mind control handler because he had my sex codes. He had my entire system codes. And this person is from an area of California that is heavy in Lockheed Martin, and Lockheed Martin ran Skunk Works. They run all the MK Ultra. They ran all the sex kittens when they took over the welfare system in the 90s. What they did is Lockheed took over decided to take over the whole welfare system. And what they were doing is they were testing um, spinal implants on the women and the children that they basically that were on welfare and Section 8 and all that stuff. And that's where the sleeping beauty porn came in, because basically this spinal implant, which I was fitted with too, it knocks out your consciousness. And what they do a lot of really sick shit with it, because these people are fucking sickos. You basically, anyone who has like maybe a fetish for sleeping women, fucking sleeping women, I don't know anyone like that, huh? Basically, you can activate the implant. The woman can't hear anything. Consciousness is gone. The dog can bark. The alarms could go off. She can't move. Nothing can, she can't hear anything. The even sicker ones will put the body down and bring the temperature down, and then people will pretend like she's dead. It's very sick what these people do. They're using it to molest children without their knowledge, and they have done damage. There were some other whistleblowers, females like myself, whose lives have been taken over in the same way, who confirmed this also. I took a magnet, stuck it right where it was, and it went fucking crazy in my back. I know another person who's a bit older than me, but not by much, and I went up behind her, stuck it on her back, and her back went fucking crazy too. So the person who handles me my entire life was out of that company, probably had the idea to test it on Section 8 and take over the welfare system, because he's a scumbag too. Yeah, so the person now who I've identified as a mind control handler is from that area, and very immersed. The entire neighborhood is immersed, and when your neighborhood is taken over like that, you're either one of them or you're not. And what they tend to do, and the reason that I had claimed that this person had a naval intelligence background is because he was in the Navy. But when you come from a military industrial compromised area like him, you get the training on how to be a handler if you do decide to go into the military. So I'm not fucking nuts when I say that somebody has naval intelligence background. He pretends to be the crazy marble man of Texas, but he's not. He's actually very intelligent, very smart, but he has like I said, if you're under mind control or you have codes in that and he's around you, you're not safe, especially in the TI community. TI community is full of people that have MK Ultra. So when when he's on, live streams and talking shit about, not Devin, okay, but Patrick, saying all kinds of crazy shit about me, trying to make me look all kinds of ways. Whatever. I didn't do anything that bad with him. Whatever. If you want to talk about me that way or act like this is such a traumatic, crazy situation, you won't return my phone call. Well, you know what? I've got your number, and I see that you guys are now experts on this shit. And your friend did explain it, fairly well. But for someone who has an understanding of it, don't you think that there would be the discernment to say, hey, maybe, maybe this is a complex mind control system? I've already deprogrammed. I deprogrammed from 2012 to 2013, got away for a little bit, got away for a year, started a business, bought a house, everything was great. And then they took everything over. May of 2015, and took everything over in my house. I haven't been able to do much since, because I've been under nonstop surveillance. The same people that took my life over also did what they did to Max Spears. We were both threatened at the same time in 2013. And, so it's not like I'm some kind of a crazy person and I can't prove all this stuff. I'm in fucking blogs. I'm in the White Hat blog that, the guy got killed that was writing it. But they used to reference me as Agent K. in there. You know, when they were trying to recruit me to start doing interviews and that, they were trying to do the ego programming, the bolstering up of the ego. Oh, Agent K, make it through the mission, blah, blah, blah. And I thought I was on astral missions and all kinds of shit. And it turns out that I was actually being human trafficked while my implant was on. Yeah, so I would wake up, you know, my body sore, genital sore, things like that. I thought I was fighting reptilians, and no. Turns out I was just being trafficked, using the beta programming, and Lord knows what else they had me doing with the other programming. So I'll be honest with you, I'm just a little bit disappointed in the lack of discernment on so-called experts in the field of this, that they would actually go after a real program survivor who, yeah, I'm so confused. You know, it would seem that maybe someone came in with the intention of, you know, building a slander campaign, you know, to kind of protect, you know, the system, because I found everything out about the system, their computer networks, everything. I don't know. Could be me. Maybe I'm just fucking nuts. Oh my God, I'm so pissed. I'm so mad right now. I'm like, yeah, so they're gonna talk about this, and yeah, while they fucking rip apart a woman who yeah. And what's interesting is, you know, the reason I have so many drones above my house is because at any time, and this has been proven, documented, I have the Kremlin, the White House, the royal estate out of Tokyo on my router at all times, because of the level of psychic ability that I'm at. I have Israel on there also. The Israeli government is also part of my surveillance, and that has been proven and caught. So I would like the experts that are running around slandering real victims while they prop up their bullshit MK Ultra people that have no proof. If you're MK Ultra, you can find the proof. You have all kinds of stuff. Even if your body is completely implanted up, you may not be MK Ultra in the programs. You may have been used for other things within the cartel. And I know that they're sending in a lot of those girls, because any gang stalker, any other prostitutes, any of them have the full body area network too, and then they also have an ocular eye implant also, because they're not going to let their merchandise get away, you know, and they're going to want to see everything to make sure they don't steal anything, talk to the wrong people, snitch, whatever. Basically the crime syndicates all own all this technology anyway, because they're being funded by the CIA and the federal government and all that. So it's just very interesting to me. I don't like to talk about this stuff all the time. You know, sometimes I do just like to talk about fucking nothing. Like just inane shit. I've been working at this level for over a decade. So I'm kind of seeing the writing on the wall, as far as what a mind control handler, you know, why they would maybe want to get rid of a super psychic, you know, person that is very knowledgeable about mind control and the systems and the people and the companies behind it and all that. I mean, I've had personal contact with a lot of them. A lot of them were my clients when I was a psychic. It's proven in those testimonials. I used to have the Johnson & Johnson family. I had vice presidents of the pipeline companies up in Canada. I had multiple celebrities from Hollywood. I had all kinds of people, you know, spirit cookers from New York and that. I mean, I had all of those people calling me for readings. So, I don't know. I'm just really, I don't know, I'm confused. I'm very, very confused as to why Patrick White feels the need to slander my name after he loves me so much. And now he's piggybacking off of this shit to exploit more people. And yes, I'm going to put it out there. He is an exploiter of people. Okay, when I say it's someone's naval intelligence, they are. He has nothing. They keep him completely controlled, because he has fucking nothing. And that's how they control him. They give him little bits of shit, little bags of marbles, and they let him do all kinds of weird shit that he wants to do. I've been in this system for over a decade and just surrounded by people from this cult. I was placed with them to possibly marry them. I learned everything that they were doing. Then they would switch and give me another one. It's been nonstop. So, you know what? Good luck to you guys. I find it really sick that you guys feel a need to endorse, slander of somebody who is a legitimate survivor of these things. In the past 4 years, I've been under reprogramming. I have been, those of you who've been with me the past, 3 years or so here on Facebook have watched me wake up with taser marks all over my body, bruises all over my body, poisoned, beat up, radiated, electroshock to the point that one half of my face is completely drooped and I don't know what happened. This is all MK Ultra programming. I would get pulled at night. So, I guess those who haven't really gone through it and been trapped in it for all these years know more than the others and should probably slander people who have actual evidence of what they've been through. Wow. You guys you're fucking sick. You should be ashamed of yourselves. All right. Well, I'm going to go. I've bitched enough. All right. Bye-bye.